Broadsword calling Danny Boy.
Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another game of interplanetary I Spy with my frickin' eye going on here, and this is gonna knock your socks off. If what I found here is true, and I think it probably is, this could answer many questions about some of the problems some of us researchers have been having with Gale crater. Now this is Google Earth, Gale crater, Mars. Let's zoom in and have a look. Now, once you get rid of all the annotations and stuff on here and take a close look at it, there's something very odd about Aeolus Mons, or Mount Sharp, this central so-called mountain, or whatever it's supposed to be, in the center of Gale crater. Now this don't look much, this is low res, this has probably been taken from black and white image and recolored. They've probably just turned up the color temperature to give it this sort of brownish color. A lot of Mars isn't that color at all, in fact a lot of it's blue. And we know from the high-rise images that a lot of it is actually like this sort of color here. Lots of bright colors. Okay. So let's crack straight on with it. Now, that don't look much at the moment, I know. But when I show you what I've been doing with this, your jaw is gonna hit the ground when you realise what this is. Oh God, I cannot contain myself at the moment. I really cannot. Let's crack straight on with it. Now, I've downloaded a couple of images from Google Images. This is one of them. This is from planet.go.fu-berlin.de, which is a German website. There's also this one here, which is awesome. Now, I've been looking for images of Mount Sharp in its entirety for months and months now, and I couldn't find any until a day or so ago. And these came up. These are high-res images. I mean, this one is over 7,000 by 5,000. This is big, and it's really good. This is a JPEG. It's not a PNG. It's not a TIFF, but it's a high-quality JPEG. And these colors depict the various depths of the crater. The darker color here, blue, depicting the deepest part of the crater, and the lighter color here in the middle being the highest part of Mount Sharp. Okay, so let's crack straight on with it. I don't want to waffle on too long. We've got a lot to get through here. This is gonna, oh dear, I don't know. This is really gonna blow your mind here. Hang on, let's get rid of that. I don't want that. Oh my God. When you see what I've uncovered here, you're probably gonna need a stiff drink. Okay. Right, so this is another image I managed to download. Now this shows There'll be links to all these images as usual under the video, so you can all download these and take a look yourselves. Now this is a typical sort of image you'd get of Gale crater, not brilliant but not bad. It's one of the better ones you'd get. Now this shows where the Curiosity landed it'll be almost 2 years ago soon. Yeah, a couple of years ago. Now that's the area it landed. Now this initially, the rover was going to land over here somewhere, but at the last minute they kind of changed course slightly and decided to come in closer to the edge of Mount Sharp, and I think I know why. Now when you look at the shape of Mount Sharp here, does it remind you of anything? Just take a good look at that. Now I've been staring at this for a couple of days, and it struck me almost immediately that this looks like an artificial structure. And even in this sort of fairly heavily censored image from NASA here, you can tell that there's something artificial going on here. There's this very strange oval object here that looks like it's sunk into the ground. This could be a massive structure of some sort. It looks artificial. It looks a little bit too good to be true. Let's brighten that up a bit for you. Let's go in bright. Let's go. Okay, yeah, let's go up. Yeah, okay, there we go. Now, this may be nothing, but this is not a crater. This is a plateau, and it looks extremely flat, and it has a very, very nice long swept curve to it, and this part of it seems buried or possibly even blurred out. This looks like it's been manipulated here, so there may well be some very interesting structures around here that we're not being allowed to see. This looks like it's been obfuscated. Okay, but they didn't get rid of Aeolus Mons, which is this huge structure here in the center. Now, I was doing some research a while back, and I remember hearing somewhere or reading somewhere that some guy at NASA said that Gale crater shows signs of artificial, or what did he say? He said something like, you've always got to read between the lines with NASA. He said something that Gale crater is artificial in nature. I think those were his exact words. Can't remember who it was. Can't remember where I heard it or saw it, but that kind of got to me, and it's been niggling away at me for a while now, and I suddenly realised what it meant. What that statement actually means is that Gale crater is artificial. And when you see what I've done with this, you'll realise exactly what I mean. Now, it doesn't look much now, but if you look closely, look at this shape here, and it comes down here. It's like a letter M, okay? A big M, right? And you have what look like two massive wings sticking down. You've got this triangular sort of structure here in the middle. You have what looks like a massive wing here and a massive wing here, and it goes right up here. It's almost like a sort of boomerang shape, but I'll try and get across to you what I think it looks like. I've got a lot of stuff up here, bear with me. It's probably up here. Okay, now here's the better image that I will show you in a second. Now look at this. Now this is World War II. The Horton 229, predecessor to all the stealth aircraft that the Americans copied from this aircraft. This was the original stealth bomber or stealth aircraft, made from composite materials, highly advanced jet aircraft. Only a couple of prototypes were made at the end of World War II, and they were very quickly shipped over to America, where Northrop, the American aircraft manufacturer, copied it, and it was later then what inspired the stealth B-2 and the F-117A stealth fighter bomber. So this is a direct lineage here. You can see this is the Horton at the top here, the 229, and just below here we have the stealth bombers, and you can see the similarities. This is a direct copy, basically, of the wing configuration. Now, if we look at what we have on Mars here, now the crazy thing about this on Mars is that the sheer scale of this is almost impossible to comprehend. This structure from one side to the other is something like let's go on to Google Mars and measure it. Okay, let's get the ruler, let's measure it. Now you can see this sort of wing curved sort of boomerang shape here, and I'm going to measure it from the widest point roughly. Can't be exactly sure here because some of it's in shadow, so we're just going to do this quickly. Right, that's about, it's 93 kilometers wide. Okay, here's the measurement. Now it's probably exactly 93 kilometers if I was a bit more careful. Okay, so we got a 93 kilometer wide. I'm going to call it a wingspan for now. Now you may think this is a bit fantastic, a little bit over the top, but when I show you, you will realise what this thing is. Okay, so bear that in mind. This is massive and has all the hallmarks of an artificial structure. Now then, so what I did, I flipped it round, I turned it around for you, I flipped it right, and I've drawn round the symmetrical structure that is EADS Mons, and this is what you get. Now what I've done, I've grayscaled it, I've drawn round the almost, I mean this is almost perfectly symmetrical and may well be, we're just only seeing some of it. There may be a lot of this buried underneath. This is only the sort of main crescent shape here. This may be the entire thing, I don't know, but I'm guessing this structure has been here for millions and millions of years, and it looks to me like a mothership of an extremely advanced civilization that landed in the bottom of Gale crater probably millions and millions of years ago. I couldn't tell you how long ago, I have absolutely no idea, but this is artificial. Now, yeah, okay, it may look like a mountain, but when everybody has been looking at Mount Sharp, and when you look at the edges of it, it's surrounded by what looks like a moat. There's like a huge river kind of bed or lake bed that goes all the way around this thing. So it's like a massive fortress, the biggest fortress in history. I mean, if this is a fortress or a spaceship, could be either or both, then it is absolutely enormous. And I'm really struggling to get across how large this thing is. 93 kilometers from tip to tip, and you can draw a line through the center of this. If I drew a line through here, you could fold this in half, and now had I drawn around it a bit more carefully, the lower wing here would match the upper wing there. You could actually fold this in half. You could run a mirror across here and you'd have perfect symmetry. This is just insane. It's absolutely insane, and this may explain some of the difficulties that scientists have been having trying to explain what this thing is, or how it was constructed, or how it was made. Or they're trying to tell us that this was a naturally made thing by sedimentary layers building up and wind erosion and pushing all this stuff up there, and perhaps water erosion eroding it back down again. I mean, scientists are really struggling. I'm struggling with this. I'm really struggling with this. This is absolutely insane. I mean, I've drawn around that really carefully there. Let me reverse those steps for you. Okay, now that's what it looks like. Now, if I get rid of that, okay, you can see the shape that I'm talking about. Okay, look at this up here. It comes right round, and when you get in close, now I've darkened this a little bit. This isn't raw. When you get in close, there's even a symmetrical part at the front here, like the front, if this is the front. Okay, now why did the rover land here? There's the landing spot here. What are they after? Because they certainly don't care about animal bones or thigh bones or whatever. They drive straight past them. They don't do any samples. There's alien skulls down here. There are buildings down here. There are small buildings. There are hundreds or even thousands of specimens lying in this area that we've already seen. A lot of us researchers have uncovered hundreds and hundreds of artifacts, lots of wreckage, building, dilapidated buildings and foundations and animal specimens that freeze dried and skulls and bones, you name it, we found it here. This is like a huge junkyard. And NASA have ignored it all. And why have they ignored it all? Because they're not interested. Why are they not interested? Because they're after something much, much bigger. And what they are trying to do, and I'm absolutely convinced of this, because I've been trying to figure out their attitude on this and I'm not happy about it. A lot of people aren't happy about their attitude. But what you got to remember, not all people at NASA are bad people. Yes, some of them are probably dodgy sort of military types who may have hijacked this mission. And I really do think that it's a military reconnaissance mission to get into Mount Sharp via this area here. I would hazard a guess that there is an entrance here somewhere, and they're going to drive round and try and find a way up here. And there's probably a way in just here somewhere. You can see they could probably drive around here and find a way up. There are roads that go up the side of Mount Sharp. Lots of people have seen them and shown them in videos. There are all sorts of roads and buildings and structures and artificial mounds and even pyramids and stuff in Gale Crater. But Mount Sharp itself is highly, highly artificial looking. Even from down there, when you look at it from the side, it's absolutely crazy. There's loads of dome structures all over it. What look like bomb shelters and hangars, and there's hundreds of ships and parts of ships and buildings all around here. We don't get to see most of it. They hide most of it from us because it's so obvious when you see it. Okay, so what I think that the rover is doing is going to come along here and it's going to turn up into here and try and find an entrance into this massive artificial mountain. Now, once you realise that there's an aircraft shape here, you can see it straight off the bat. But you just got to think big. This is enormous. This is 93 kilometres across from there to there. Wingtip to wingtip, if they are wings. Now, this may just be an artificially constructed building, but why would it be shaped like an aircraft? Or ship? A spaceship? Why? Because it probably is a spaceship that's landed here. I know this is far-fetched, but this is the only way I can explain this structure. And when I'll go back, let's redo those steps again to show you again. Okay, there's the shape. Now this took me a load of attempts to draw around this because it's an awkward shape to draw around. It's like a number 3 almost. But it may not be perfectly round at the front here. I've got a feeling that this probably comes to more of a point here, but we're not seeing it because it's buried. And this back end here may come out further like this. I'll show you some edits of that in a minute. I'll have edits of all this stuff, and all the images I've shown you will be at the end of the video as usual, so you can see and you can pause stuff and have a real good look. but I do recommend you download this image and really take a good look at it, darken it up. It's unbelievable, it really is, and I can see why we don't normally get images of the entire mountain or whatever it is, because if everyone was to see this, they would soon realise that it's artificial. I mean, it blatantly is artificial. Look at it. I mean, there's a huge crack hit the top here. Yeah, but so what? I mean, this stuff on top of whatever this structure is could have been just a build-up over millions and millions of years. I mean, what I'm talking about is underneath this. This is a facade. This is kind of a construct. And some of these other structures here, like this thing here, and that looks like an artificial structure. The whole thing is covered in it. Artificial looking structures made to look perhaps, or disguised perhaps, or camouflaged as a mountain. Now, I have published other stuff where I think their technology is so massive and advanced. I mean, this may have been parked here millions or even billions of years ago. We don't have absolutely no idea how old this is. This is all kind of conjecture, really. But if you look at some of my other videos, like this one, massive Mars 4-kilometer UFO structure. Now, I think this is an actual spaceship that's landed. I've called it the Black Saucer Alien Citadel because it looks like a massive flying saucer and has a very symmetrical central structure to it here. And it's parked in a sort of a big hole. And I think what it may be doing is terraforming the surface here, because there's lots of greenery around nearby, and it may be drilling into the bedrock and extracting water, underground water, and then irrigating the landscape nearby. That's just a theory, can't prove that, but this is an artificial structure without any doubt whatsoever. This is 4 kilometers wide. Now that's big. Now I thought this would be the biggest sort of intelligently made structure that I would ever find on Mars, and although I didn't actually find this, someone actually sent me this and I made the video. Someone actually sent me a tip-off, so I'm getting some pretty cool tip-offs here, guys, and I'm pretty sure that some of these tip-offs ain't coming from Joe Public here. I'm talking about people in the know, people who perhaps may work for certain space organizations around the world. Okay, so there's definitely people from NASA and other organizations giving us tip-offs here. They may not give you their name, but they may well be. Who knows? Who knows who these people are? Now, this is the largest ship on Earth. Now, this thing was built in South Korea recently, just launched. Largest ship ever built on Earth, as far as we know. Now this thing is something like, oh, there we go, 1,600 feet long, and is bigger than the Empire State Building. Okay, now that's impressive, and in fact it's so large, and this is the same with any very, very large metallic structure or ship or whatever. They are so large that they actually interfere with the gravitational field of the Earth. Okay, and this can be measured with various seismic equipment, because these actually interfere with the Earth's magnetic field because they're largely constructed of steel and are so enormous that when they go around the oceans of the Earth, they actually interfere with the magnetic field of the Earth and can be detected in such a way. Now, Aeolus Mons. Now you can see the thing here on this image. You can see that it's a bloody huge ship. Look at it. Now, just you may need to squint a little bit, but you can see the thing. It's a dirty, great bloody ship with massive, massive delta wing sort of chevron, double chevron configuration. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. And it's even more obvious in this image here, because they've darkened this blue section to show the lower areas. Look at it. It curves around here and goes round like this. There's a bit that sticks out there, and there's the other wing there. You could run a line through this and fold it in half. This is so symmetrical, and it's not dissimilar in wing configuration to this aircraft, which is over a kilometre wide, which is on the side of Olympus Mons. Mars Alien Spaceship, Olympus Mons UFO, huge 1 kilometre wide. Okay, that's one of my other videos. This was also sent to me as a tip-off. Somebody sent me this and said, oh, check this out, and could you please make a video of it for me? And I did. I was quite happy to oblige. You'll find in the information underneath that there's a link to the guy who sent it to me. Very well spotted. Now this is taken from by the European Space Agency from a satellite image. Now, taken at extreme height from space. So this is over a kilometre wide, but it still looks very small. But you can just about make out a cockpit area here. See those 2 dots there? That is a cockpit. Now, delta wing aircraft on Earth generally would have the cockpit the other way round. So this is a reversed delta wing configuration. Okay, if that is a cockpit here, I mean, those may be engines in the back there. Don't know. There may be a cockpit here at the other side. So I couldn't really tell you, but I'm just guessing here that is a cockpit because it's pointed there, like the front of an aircraft. But it's a reverse delta wing. Okay, not a normal delta wing, or like this guy, where you have the cockpit here. It's almost like they turn the whole thing around the other way and using it in reverse. So that was interesting as a comparison. A reverse delta wing configuration. Now, bear in mind. Okay, let's get rid of that. If this is a spacecraft, I mean, it's almost irrelevant where the cockpit is, but I'm guessing it's probably here. The control deck or the sort of flight deck or whatever. If it is a spaceship, that is. If I'm guessing it'll be here. So maybe that this is the back end here. Who knows? This could be the front end. I mean, it's largely irrelevant really which end is the business end. But they may find that they're on the wrong side, and the Curiosity rover may have to go all the way around to this end, which could take years. This could take a year, a couple of years even, for them to get all the way around there. And they may find that there's so many obstacles here in this area, because some of this is very deep down. This is 4.5 kilometers down, this dark area here. They may really struggle. So unless they can find an entrance to this thing, and there will be one somewhere, there's probably more than one, unless they can find a way in this end here, they're screwed. They're going to have to go all the way around. Now, I really do think this is why there are headlights on the Curiosity rover, because they want to get inside this thing. What they'll probably do is they'll probably say, oh, there's been a malfunction, and the rover is now packed up at some point. And then what they'll do is they'll pretend to shut it down, and then they'll find a way in here somewhere. They'll drive up in here. There might be a little entrance here, and then they'll go inside it, and there's probably a huge city in there, like a huge citadel, a massive labyrinth of building, underground buildings, and well, inside this, what may be a spaceship, a giant city-sized spaceship, bigger than London, practically the size of London, UK. I mean, Greater London even. This is absolutely enormous. I cannot get across how big this thing is. So yeah, they would probably drive the thing in there, and we'd probably never hear of it again, because there's probably people living in here. There could well be a civilization living inside this thing. But there maybe not. They may have all died out millions of years ago. Maybe a catastrophe on Mars destroyed them or something. But I'm guessing there might be a few of them still left in there. Absolutely impossible to say. Now, that's enough on that one. Let's have a look at this one. You're going to like this. It's even better, this one. Now, where's my enhanced version of it? Okay, I'll show you this one first. Right, there, this is also false colour, where this is showing the deepest part. The blue is the deepest bit, and the whiter area here in the middle is the highest bit. So this is a contour map showing you the various depths and heights. Okay, but that really helps because it's almost completely outlined this structure here. See this blue part, and this is in more detail than the last picture. And you can see the thing kind of has a sort of symmetrical part here as well. Okay. So what I did was I grayscaled it and I drew around it again. I darkened it up as well. Drew around it again, and this took a few attempts. It's not perfect the way I've drawn around it here. Done my best, but it's a hard shape to draw. This sort of E shape here, you know, it's really hard. And this may well go to more of a point at this end. I don't know. This could be buried. I mean, this could be buried under millions or even a billion years worth of dust and detritus from, you know, from space landing on it and stuff like that. You know. Now, let's colour that for you. I'll have to increase the colour depth first. Okay, and now I'll enhance it with a bit of colour. There we go. Now this is a sharper image, so you've got more detail here. It's getting close. Now even this bit here, this triangular thing, this is completely artificial. Look at it. When have you ever seen a mountain that shape? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. Now, what I think this may be is that this may be a construct. This is like an extension. They built an extension, okay, which is like 50 miles across. You know, yeah, great. But they didn't get planning permission either. So yeah, I mean, this underneath here could be a wing here, and this could be another wing. It's like one big flying wing configuration in a sort of E-shaped or sort of delta wing sort of configuration. It's just insane, and you really could. I mean, look how symmetrical it is. And if I drew around it more carefully here and here, it would probably be even more symmetrical than it looks already. Okay, so there we go. And as I've shown in previous videos, around the bottom of Mount Sharp here, there are loads of ships and aircraft kind of deposited there where the water dried up in Gale crater. There's like a Navy base here, and I thought that maybe Mount Sharp was a sort of part of it was a Navy base, but I think the whole thing is artificial, and the Navy base is just one end of it. I mean, there may be all sorts of military installations all around this thing, and this is what the Curiosity is really going for. Alien technology, assuming it is alien, of course. This may be nothing to do with the Martians. This may have landed here millions of years ago, and maybe from a completely different planet. We have no idea. They could have been settled from another planet, and then when this planet went down, they could have moved to Earth. And a lot of people are starting to think that, because the similarities are getting all a bit too close for comfort. The cone heads on Mars, the pyramids, the building structures, and a lot of the designs. I'll show you a few of the things like from a couple of previous videos, like this guy. I called this the Mars Navy battleship. It even has a gun on it, for God's sake. Now this is highly enhanced, of course. I'll show you these clips in the end of the video and show you what I've done basically to them. But this is there. This is the bottom of Mount Sharp, and this thing has a great big gun on one end of it, and even looks like it's got some guy sitting in it, or like a robot dude sitting in it. I mean, this is crazy technology. This thing's a couple of 100 feet long. It's not massive like some of the things I found on Mars or published. It's not the biggest find. And a lot of the stuff we're told about Mars is utter nonsense. There's another one. Now, this is in one of my other videos, Mars battleship video from a couple of weeks back, a few weeks back. I did a whole series on Mount Sharp. There's 2 series I've done about Mount Sharp, and this is one of the better finds. There is an aircraft here. This is enhanced. Aircraft at the back, huge jet aircraft, hundreds of feet long, much bigger than anything we've got on Earth. And this battleship here, which is not massive, if it is a battleship, this is sort of the main part of it. There's a lot more of it buried over to the right here. This is enhanced, of course. You can even see the round holes where the guns would have been on it. There's the superstructure. See these holes? See this one here and this one here? And let me compare that to something else, and you'll see what I mean. This is an image of the Bismarck from World War II, which was sunk by the British. A German, the huge German battleship. Now, when it went down, it sort of tipped over as it sank, and the gun turrets fell off because they only just rest in these huge turret housing, circular housing structures here. So as it sort of went down, it probably tipped over as it went down in the water. They fell off, and then the ship ended up back upright when it hit the bottom. And this is what I'm seeing on Mars. A lot of these huge structures with big circles on them and superstructures. And to me, I may be wrong, but that looks like a battleship to me. I mean, this is covered in sand and it's been buried probably for tens of thousands of years or longer. You know, a lot of this stuff could be very, very ancient indeed. We have no idea. And this looks very much to me like a battleship. So yeah, there's lots of these things. I've only picked out a few of my larger finds here for you because I'm trying to make this the most sort of epic video so far. I don't want to make it too long, so I'll crack on with that. And also, there's not supposed to be any running water on Mars. Well, what's this? Now, this is dust here in the centre. This is a dust cloud. So we're told by NASA. This is a high-rise image. Now up here we have ice. Okay, this is ice at the top here on the top left. Very thick ice. And this dust, so-called dust cloud here, is supposed to have just happened when the dust, or a whole lump of, like a landslide, kind of fell down the side of this cliff here, into this gully, to this crater, and it just kind of dislodged a load of material and caused a cloud of dust. Yeah, okay. Well, if you look more closely, and look over here, look at this bit. Does that look like dust to you? Does dust run along the ground like this, on this slope? Does it run down like this? Does it run all the way down like this? You see this blurred area here? I mean, some of this, it may well be dust, and it looks like a dust cloud. But could it be a waterfall? Is this running water from melt ice here? Ice is melted and heated up, and a lot of water has come down the edge of this crater or whatever it is, and disturbed some dust on the way also. And could this be a waterfall? Could this be a river? A running water? Certainly looks like it. See here? There's more of it here. I'll provide links to all these in the description. Now, there's all sorts of this stuff coming out now. I really think they're drip feeding us, literally, pardon the pun. They are drip feeding us small snippets of information at a time, in a way to sort of get us used to the idea that Mars may not be quite what they told us it is. There's a lot of artificial stuff going on up here, an awful lot of it. What can I say? Let me just quickly flick through a couple of things. There's actually now. Oh yeah, what I was going to say was, like I said, these this structure here, this ship on Earth, is so large that you can actually measure it using seismic equipment, and because it interferes with the Earth's magnetosphere or magnetic resonance. Now the same would be possible on Mars, and I'm sure they've already done this, which is probably how they found this thing at Gale crater. There he is. Now, if this is a metallic structure underneath, and I expect a lot of it is metallic underneath, then you should be able to measure that with various types of scanning equipment. You should be able to measure the magnetic resonance of it from space. So if this is what I think it is, and I think NASA know exactly what this thing is, and this is what they're after, they want the tech that's inside this thing. If this is a massive ship that's landed in Gale crater millions and millions of years ago, then they could easily measure that using various types of equipment to scan this area. This would heat up during the day, the hottest part of the day on Mars. It'd get up to about 60-70 degrees in the summer. This is near the equator, so it gets quite warm. This would get quite hot, and would have a much hotter thermal image than a lot of the surrounding area, especially this triangular part here, I'd have thought. So this could easily be measured from space. You wouldn't have to go down on the ground to find out that this was a largely metallic structure or artificial structure, because this would show up extremely well. They could use ground penetrating radar. They could use all sorts of kit to measure what's going on underneath this, and I'm sure they already have. They have the tech. They've had the tech for a long time. I mean, on Earth, it's even possible to cloak things like this. Maybe not this big, but on Earth. Hang on, let's get this up a minute. Now, this is the Bismarck. This is an old battleship from World War II, but the USS Enterprise has a cloaking device. Now, I'm not talking about the thing from Star Trek. I'm talking about the US Navy here. Now, my brother was stationed. He was as a boat builder. He was working on a ship in the Mediterranean many years ago, and this was just as the second Gulf War kicked off. So half of the American Atlantic Fleet turned up in the Mediterranean and came to Malta, where he was at the time, and came in to refuel and resupply before going off to the Gulf. And he was actually working on this ship at a time. He was working on board a ship in the harbour, and they had their radar up on the screen. And he looked at it, and he saw a load of blips, huge blips on the radar. And he got his binoculars out, and he looked at the horizon, and he saw the massive battle fleet turning up, which must have been an incredible sight. And right in the middle of them was the USS Enterprise, which is a massive nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, and it's an enormous thing. It's not as big as that thing from South Korea, that huge ship, but it's big. And he said it wasn't on the radar, so all the other ships were showing up on the radar, but this huge one in the middle, which was clearly visible on the horizon, was not on the radar. And this technology has been around on Earth for quite some time. They have jamming equipment which can render them invisible to radar, and this technology has been around for decades and decades. In fact, it's probably been around for 30 or 40 years, probably since the late 60s or 70s or something like that. At least the 80s, and there's an awful lot of high-tech stuff that the American military have, and they're probably way in advance of many, or practically all the countries in the world. And basically, they could cloak a ship like this, and you could see it visually, of course, but they can cloak it using a radar jamming device, an advanced radar jamming device, so that other nations wouldn't be able to see it that easily. Of course, you could spot it from the air, you could spot it from another ship if you got close enough. But they do have cloaking technology in the US Navy, and that is evidence of it. And of course, they have stealth aircraft and other things that I showed you, which are radar reflective. Okay, so right, I think that's about it. I think that just about covers this video. Oh, and other evidence of Mount Sharp being a military base is that there are bomb craters. You may have seen this in one of my previous videos. That's enhanced. This is bottom of Mount Sharp. There are loads of these chain craters. Chain craters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These go all the way along in some areas. Dozens and dozens of them, equally spaced. I think at some point Mount Sharp, or whatever it is, the big structure, was bombed, and they may have had a war up there with somebody or something in the distant past. And not all the craters on Mount Sharp and around Mount Sharp are caused by meteor strikes or whatever. I think a lot of them are bomb craters, and a lot of the ships and aircraft that I've found up there do have lots of signs of damage. I mean, a lot of them could be very ancient, like this one. This could be there a million years. I'm guessing it's not that old, but who knows? And it's got a big hole in it here. This could be just rotted away. And there's a whole load of damage at the back here as well. And when you're getting really close, you can see some great detail. I mean, you've really got to check out my other Mount Sharp videos, and there's a whole series of them, and they go into a lot of detail about this and show you all the sequences I took to get to this point, and how I got to this find, and how I got to this amount of detail. So I recommend you watch some of those if you haven't already. So, okay, thank you for watching, everybody. I hope that wasn't too long. There's a hell of a lot of stuff to get through in this video. I will probably come back to this and do another shorter take on this and see what else I can find, because this is a really good high-res image here, and there's definitely an artificial structure here that looks like a massive spaceship that's landed millions and millions of years ago, and it's just mind-boggling. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers, and I will see you soon.